So this is a case analysis of GR number 183678, Supreme Court of the Philippines, a decided case for the revocation of certificate of registration due to immoral, unprofessional, or dishonorable conduct by Reinze Magracia. To start it off, let's know the background of the case with a WH question: what, who, where, when, and why? What? Let's begin with the question what. This case we're gonna talk about. What's the main point and essence of this case analysis you are doing? So this is a petition for reconsideration of a teacher which his license was revoked after he was charged immorality and dishonorable conduct by his own wife. Who is this and why did his wife do such thing? We're gonna find out later. As interesting as it is, I can keep it a blind item. Or can I? So the next question is who? Who are the personas involved in this interesting case? And to not make you wait any longer, the first one up is Rene Ventinilla Puse, the petitioner, a professional teacher in Aguirre Elementary School, Jose Panganiban, Camarines Norte. Or should I say, ex-professional teacher? Kidding. The second one up is his wife, the respondent, Ligaya de los Santos Puse. And I guess she didn't give some ligaya to her husband after she stripped off his license in professional teaching. After all, who would be happy if you are stripped off with your title as the first wife and settled with the second wife title? And the third person involved is Miss Cristina Pablo Puse, the said first wife. Upon the background of the case, we still have three questions to answer: the when, where, and why. And because the tea is too hot, I decided to stack up all these questions and spill the tea all together to keep it short and simple. Which means I'm gonna say all the storyline, which explains why with a corresponding date and place. To start, on January 10, 1992, the petitioner married the respondent Ligaya de los Santos Puse in a civil wedding at Daet Camarines Norte. They had 2 children, and after 13 years of a happy married life, they decided to have a church wedding. And that was the time where the biggest bomb was dropped. The respondent discovered that the petitioner had already gotten married to Cristina Pablo Puse in also a civil wedding at Lauwag City, Ilocos Norte on December 27, 1986. That was just like 6 years earlier the marriage. The petitioner also have 2 children with the first wife. Feeling sad, indignant, and angry, Miss Ligaya was not that maligaya with the situation. Thus, on August 2, 2005, she filed a letter of complaint to the PRC, in which you can guess what happened next. Maybe this is what you call
Atitikman ninyo ang batas ng isang api!
which is undeniably the cause of the birth of this case. After knowing the background of the case, let's now talk about the facts of the case. The first one is the petitioner is definitely a professional teacher for a long time. The second one is that he is legally married to his first wife and is also legally married to his second wife. The third one is that his first wife is definitely alive. And if their complex love life being enjoyed by the chismosang kapitbahay can be added, then it can definitely be the fourth fact. By analyzing these 3 mere facts, we can say that the case will be tilted in favor with the respondent if she really filed a case, in which she indeed did. I guess the respondent was really upset to the point that she doesn't care if her name was Ligaya or what. She filed a criminal case of bigamy and abandonment, saying that the petitioner doesn't support her children anymore, in which the petitioner denied, arguing that if he was truly guilty of her allegations, she would be in equal fault. I guess this is where the till death do us part vow is for. He also added that he was undeniably still supporting their children and haven't abandoned them. He just really thought that his first wife was already dead. And the response of Miss Ligaya to this statement is that it is lame and he should have submitted a declaration of his first marriage being ineffective, but he didn't. But the petitioner was a hard nut to crack, and still standing his ground, adding that the respondent's complaints were without valid certificate. At this point, I can say that emotions are already making the case as complex as it is, and the peaceful forum that the court and the petitioner suggested cannot help in any way anymore. So there's only one thing to do in this point, and that's to wait for the board's decision. And unshockingly, Mr. Rene was found guilty under Section 23, Republic Act 7836. The charge of immorality or dishonorable conduct will result for the revocation of license, and so his license was revoked by the court. Yet, Mr. Rene sure is resilient, not only in marriage, but also in sending petitions for reconsiderations to courts. But I guess resilience is not enough because he was still denied many times. Maybe his strong persistence in pleading for his issues to be addressed paid off. The following are the issues presented by Mr. Rene, which is not exact word for word but based on my own understanding. Lack of substantial evidence, and the Court of Appeals not minding its own business, stripping off his license when it is outside its jurisdiction. PRC helping his wife on an unverified complaint, immediately stripping off his license without due process. Thus, the humble Court of Appeals cannot do anything but to address the issue that the petitioner have. As an answer to the first issue, the court slapped down Republic Act number 7836, Section 23, which gives the board power to revoke license, suspend teacher, and cancel permits if the said individual violated the code of ethics of professional teacher, in which in this case conducted immoral, unprofessional, and dishonorable conduct. Next is the answer to the issue of PRC helping his wife. In this issue, the petitioner claimed that the respondent purposely filed the complaint at that certain branch because the investigating officer was her colleague, in which shows the partiality of the board, for due to this relation, he was denied due process, in which the board declared that the petitioner's contentions are without merit. The board also questioned how can he say that he was denied due process when he was given a chance to explain his side and opportunity to seek reconsideration, in which he was recorded compliance answer to the complaint, rejoinder, position paper, motion for reconsideration of the resolution of the Board of Professional Teachers finding him guilty as charged, and a motion of reconsideration of the decision of the Court of Appeals. As to the issue saying that this case lacks substantial evidence on the conduct of bigamy, for he really thought that his first wife was dead, this was trashed by the court. For Christina Pose, the first wife, passed an affidavit stating that she was working abroad and is constantly giving financial support to her husband and children, and she was also going home once per year. So the petitioner had no holes to jump here this time. Neither of the petitioner's contention were merited, and he was really not strictly observing the standard ethics. He offended the morals of the community and is a bad example to the youth, whose ideals as a teacher is supposed to foster and to elevate. As a teacher, the petitioner serves an example to his pupils, especially during their formative years, and stands in loco parentis to them. But he failed big time, even though he insisted that he was on the service for a long time already. It is not a sufficient achievement to show his moral fitness to continue being a member of the noble profession of law. If he also insists that he was a good husband because he had never abandoned his duties to his children, forgetting the fact that he should not only take care of his children but his wife also, shows a neglecting attitude, neglecting responsibilities. The Court of Appeal first decided to revoke his license, but taking into consideration that it was his first offense and he was a teacher for indeed a very long time, it ended to be a punishment of suspension for 6 months and 1 day. And finally, the case ended with the petition denied by the Supreme Court. Just to add my personal opinion on what I actually thought about this case. To be honest, at first I was pretty satisfied for it to end up with just a suspension. But thinking of the fact that Mr. Rene blatantly denied the conduct of bigamy when in fact he was receiving financial support and seeing his first wife was just very shameless. Imagine working hard abroad not knowing that the one you're feeding with your labor is spreading malicious rumors that you are dead. Like, it makes me want to curse him to choke and die for eating the food provided to him by someone he curses to die. So, personally, I don't really think that the suspension as punishment to this case was enough. But anyway, it's too complex for me to stick my nose on. And I do thank this case for reminding me that if I don't want to have such headache in the future, I must do my best to abide with the code of ethics in the law as an aspiring teacher. With the type of influence the teachers have to the lives of people, I can definitely say that this is the case of with great power comes great responsibility. And I guess that would be all with my case analysis. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Bye.